Welcome back to the Own It Show. I'm Heather Lee Chapman, your host and transformation coach. And today we are talking about how to own your financial future. We have a special guest, Alexia Kitoko, who is a financial literacy educator and speaker, empowering people through fun and interactive financial literacy experiences to truly own that financial future. So grateful to have you on the show. One of our main things is to help uncommon knowledge become common. And if there is one thing that is uncommon, is financial education and literacy. We're simply just not taught in schools. It's not something that you would know anything about unless you took the initiative to learn it yourself, or you had well-meaning parents that taught you. It's really not a part of our education system. So we need incredible more people like you to help people own their financial future. Because here in this world where we live, our form of exchange is money. And the more money we have, the more good we can do in the world, and the more we get to live life by design and have opportunities and choices. So let's get empowered and let's own our financial future. Thank you so much for being here. Tell us more about yourself.
Absolutely. Hi, Heather. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. I'm Alexia, as Heather said. I'm Congolese, born and raised in France, super passionate about traveling, dancing, boxing. And I'm also a financial literacy educator and a speaker at 123 Finance, a bilingual company, French English, where I empower underserved communities through fun and interactive financial literacy experiences. So I do partner with nonprofit organizations, social clubs, universities, and businesses so that people like you can actually access financial education for free. And what I offer is financial literacy experiences, which can include game nights, team buildings, workshops, micro programs, and speaking engagement.
Oh, it's so cool. And I'm so excited for your tips today. But before we get into our amazing 3 tips, we want to know more about you. We always want to know about our entrepreneurs and their journey and their story. We know that entrepreneurship is a journey and that we want to inspire all the incredible entrepreneurs out there, which are the 10% of the population that are willing and daring to create something from nothing, to get on the journey, to stay on the journey and thrive. So tell us a little bit about how you got started as an entrepreneur and why you do what you do.
Absolutely. So I love what you said about financial education with our parents and all that. And actually, one of the mission at 123 Finance is to reduce past financial generational trauma,
Mm.
right? Me, for example, personally, I come from a Congolese family. I was born and raised in France, but I didn't get that education from my family. And I'm really blessed that I had that education at school. I graduated in France with a master degree of wealth management and private banking and finance at the Université Paris Dauphine in France. So I'm grateful that I actually have that education. And since I graduated, it was always usual and just normal for me to work in banks. So I worked in banks in France, and then 2 years in Luxembourg, then in Canada. It was always logical for me to help rich people getting even richer. This was my goal. And then I came to Canada and I had to kind of relearn a little bit the finances because finance is a little bit different here in Canada. For example, in France, we don't have TFSA or RSP. We have similar products, so it was kind of easier for me to do it, but not from everyone, right? And I met a lot of my friends. They are also immigrants and newcomers like me. And I was actually discussing with one of my friends while I was working at RBC. She came working at RBC, and then we were talking about, all of those like retirement savings plan and an employee saving plan, all of that fun stuff that when you enter the company, you have a lot of paper to sign, but you actually don't really know what you're signing. And the thing with me is that automatically, because I have the financial mindset, I went in, maximized everything up, set it up, my investment. And I was talking to my friend and she was telling me, no, I don't even know what it is. I'm curious, can you explain to me? So I took an hour of my time. We did like an online meeting and I was explaining her, okay, this is what you should do. This is what is a retirement saving plan. This is what's a saving employee saving plan. And then she thanked me. She was like, "Oh my God, that's amazing. You have something. It's you make it digestible, right?" And I was asking her, if you're so interested by finances, why didn't you go see an advisor or on Google? And she told me, when I go on Google, personally, I don't have the financial education. So when I go on Google, it's complicated. The word they use is are complicated, and I can't trust them. Same for the financial advisor. I'm gonna go to RBC, they're gonna sell me RBC products. I'm gonna go to CIBC, they're gonna sell me CIBC products. How can I trust those people? And she told me, now that you've explained to me, I can go to my financial advisor. So she went and she came back to me and she was like, "Oh, actually, the financial advisor, he told me about this, and I understood it because you taught me before in an easy way." Exactly. And then I was like, "Oh, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do, actually empower the people around me to get to know more about finances and build financial independence too." And here I am now, a full-time business owner and speaker at 23 Finance, and I love waking up every morning knowing that I'm changing people's life.
Oh, and we're so grateful that you are and that you are helping the underserved communities as well, because they're usually the people that don't know what they don't know and will never get access to this information. And look at what you were able to do for your friend. It is so important to have the understanding. It takes away the fear, which will give us the courage to start owning those finances so we can be in charge of our financial future instead of being a victim to it because of lack of knowledge. So amazing. Thank you so much for doing what you do. And I'm super pumped to dive into our tips today. And the first one kind of feels like a no brainer, but we want to talk a little bit more in depth on why one is so important. Just get started and the mindset shift required to help you get started. So tell us more about that.
Absolutely. So the first tip is definitely get started. Get started. A lot of people, they'll tell you that knowledge is power. I think it can be the case, but I really think that sometimes people, they have the knowledge, they know what is a TFSA, they know what is a budgeting strategy, they know what is a RSP, but they won't do anything because they don't have the right mindset. So for me, mindset is really the first step to get started.
Yeah.
Right. So when I talk about mindset shift, it could be do money affirmations, listen to money affirmation. And when I say money affirmation, it's just not like going into the mirror and say, "I'm gonna get rich, money flows to me." Like, you have to tell yourself those sentences, because day after day you're going to start to believe it, and that your brain is going to start to be like, "Okay, I need to actually make a plan in action to do it." It's not just doing the affirmations and not do anything. You have to do the affirmations, but also make a plan to have better finances, right?
Hmm.
When I talk about finances, it also comes to past financial generational trauma. My mother, for example, she always used to tell me, "You have to save money, Alexia. You have to save money just in case something happened. Just in case something happened." It was coming from a scarcity mindset more than a building wealth mindset,
Hmm.
you
Yes.
know? So the scarcity mindset, for people who don't necessarily know, is the idea that resources, people, money are limited in the world. Men, women are limited in the world. They are not limited. Money is flowing, money is there. So yes, sometimes you have to plan for just in case if something happened, but this is not the scarcity mindset that we want to have. Another thing that happened a lot in Black family is the taboo about money.
Hmm.
Don't talk about money. Money is taboo. Money is for evil people. Don't ask for too much when you work. You have this, don't ask for too much money. All of those limiting beliefs
Hmm.
that parents put in the head of their children, and then we grow with those thoughts, right? So
Yeah.
all of that, even being avoidant about money, don't look at money, you don't have to think about it, you don't have to look at it. Being avoidant, I don't want to look at my money. I don't know how much is staying on my bank account, I don't look at it. I don't know how much I spent on my credit card, it's going to affect my credit score badly, but I don't want to look at it. All of those mindsets are not good. Same thing as the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. Some
Mm,
people are just like, no, in my family, no one was ever able to buy your property. I know I will never be able to buy your property. I can't save money because everything is so much expensive. All of those fixed mindset ideas, we need to shift it. We
yeah,
really
we
need to
don't
shift it.
we don't get anywhere with a fixed mindset. A growth mindset is essential for any change,
Absolutely.
especially around the finances. And I love how you were talking about the beliefs that we were conditioned and given to by our well-meaning parents. They are not going to serve us moving forward. And it's time to break that generational trauma. And some people even call it the generational money curse, right? Those beliefs that were passed on that there's not enough. That it's hard to earn, that you can't have it, that like money is the root of all evil would be the number one. And my grandfather came from Austria after World War II, and my grandmother had lost everything. And so they came here to rebuild. And he did rebuild and he did so well, but partially from a fear mindset that it could be gone at any moment.
Mm.
And that all, and the amount of times that I heard like all people with like a lot of money, they're all evil, they're all bad, they all got it doing something bad or wrong, right? So in my mind, the only way you could get rich was to steal or be corrupt, right? Because that's the conditioning. And when you're younger, you don't really understand exactly what they mean, right? So he ended up getting really wealthy and he was really smart with his money. But at that time, I thought, no, you can't at all, because then you're bad and you're evil. And so there's so much that we carry from our parents and well meaning grandparents and society that did their best with what they have that aren't going to serve us. So it's shifting that mindset that we don't have to keep those beliefs going forward. There is enough, there is another way. And I love how you did that shift from not from scarcity, not from enough, but actually from a place of abundance and possibility. And this is, listen very carefully, everyone, this is key. You will get what you focused on. That is neuroscience and quantum physics. So if you are focused on getting out of debt, you will attract more debt. You said wealth building. And so, what we want to focus on is building wealth. And I want you guys to actually just pause and even sit with that for a second and just feel it. Think about the feeling of getting out of debt. It feels like a little sticky because you're still thinking of debt. When I think about wealth and wealth building and wealth creation and leaving generational wealth, I feel good, positive possibility. I can feel the difference in that in my body. And switching those are sending different signals to your body as well as in the quantum field. And so where your focus goes, energy grows. And so exactly what she said here, your number one tip is to get started. And to get started usually requires that mindset shift first. So getting out of that state of lack and scarcity and getting into that state of abundance and possibility and wealth building, essential. And then if you just start with $20, there was a lot of conditioning as well, right? That you had to be rich to get rich. You already had to have money to build wealth. But I think the statistic is something like 80% of all millionaires are self-made. It's not generational. And I think the stat might be even higher. So
Mm.
guys, 100% possible. We just really need to get that mindset shift first around money. And we'll talk more about how money is energy and building your relationship with money when we talk about Alexia's incredible gift for you. But we're going to save that for you for later. So you got to stay to the end. And so now the next part, we've got started. We're shifting our mindset around money. Now we're thinking about wealth building. Our next part is to have a budgeting strategy and be empowered by your money instead of that head in the sand. They call it the ostrich syndrome, right? Where if I just avoid it, it means it doesn't exist. And I was actually just listening to the Diary of the CEO, and he said there's trillions of dollars of debt collecting in the world simply because people are head in the sand and ignoring it, avoiding it, not even looking at it, which is causing them to accumulate so much more debt. And so let's actually learn that budgeting is good. And that's how most people got really rich, is managing their money. And let's get empowered by it. So tell us about how to budget, budgeting strategy, the mindset, why it's important, and how we can think that that is actually wealth building and not a poor person's mentality.
Absolutely. Budgeting is actually it's my favorite subject. It's my favorite subject. And
You
I will
are a financial nerd. I've never heard anyone say that before. I love it. That's amazing.
definitely. So yeah, budgeting for me, a lot of people, when they think about budgeting strategy, they think about limitations. I can't do things. I can't spend my money like I want, the way I want to. But actually, budgeting is power. For
That
me,
should be the
budgeting is
name of the
power.
tip. Love
Yeah.
it.
Budgeting is power. And before I go further into budgeting, I want to share two things with you. So last time I was talking to my dad. He came to visit me from France to Canada. And then he was telling us stories with my sister about his bank account. He was like, oh, he's not really good at his finances. And he was telling us, I was looking at my bank account, but I didn't understand why I was always in the red. And then finally, after a month, I took some time to look at my bank account, and I saw all of those expenses for Uber Eats. While I never use Uber Eats, my daddy never uses Uber Eats, and he saw all of those expenses on his credit card. And then it was actually an amount of almost like 1,200 euros
Wow.
over 3 months.
Wow.
Over 3 months. That amount of money. And why it did happen? Because my dad doesn't have a budgeting strategy. He's avoidant. He never looked at the bank account. He never looked at the credit card report. He just spend. He looks at the account. Oh, there's still money. I'm gonna spend. There's no money. I'm still gonna spend because anyway, I still have to spend. So all that to say that finally he saw that amount. He went to the bank. He was able to get that money back, right? But
So didn't even know he was being scammed. His card had been
exactly,
compromised because it
exactly,
was small amounts over the 3 months, but that added up.
absolutely,
And we were talking before how I know so many people of us, I teach my clients to go through profit first. And one of the first things you do is you look at all your expenses and you look at what you can cut or change. Because a lot of people, they sign up for things over time and then they forget. And you could have hundreds and $1,000s in subscriptions that are accumulating over the time that you kind of forgot about if we have the head in the sand syndrome. And or even worse than that in your father's case. And I'm so glad he caught it.
definitely, me too. But all that to say that we have to check our incomes, we have to check our expenses, we have to check our bank accounts. We cannot just be avoidant because we're actually losing money. All of that money, he could have done so many things with it, right? Another thing, one of my friend's parents, they had like an insurance that they were paying every single month for three of their daughters. And then last time, my friend, that is one of the daughters, she was like, "Oh, let's check your bank account because why you're always in the red." And actually, the parents for years, they were paying for insurance premiums for the kids, where the kids that they don't even live with them anymore. So the insurance is actually no, and the kids are even not even in the country anymore. They live in Canada while the parents are in France.
And they have their own car insurance here, but because they weren't managing their finances, they were still paying for three people's insurances that were null and void and not required. Just
Exactly.
giving our money away.
Exactly. This is crazy. And in that case, the insurance can refund the money back, but not all of the money back because there will be like, you had to check, it was your responsibility to also check that your kids do not live with you anymore or do not live in the same country anymore.
Yeah, yeah. And Insurance goes up here in Canada annually based on like the cumulative of the people in the area and stuff like that. So it's also just monitoring that and having knowledge about how each of these bills work as well and what else is available out there for you. But the avoidance tactic does not work. And a lot of the times you end up being charged so much in interest and you're just literally giving your money away because of the avoidance, the fear. And it's, the Mel Robbins book, I'm trying to think what it's called, but it's the 5 second theory and counting back 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just take action. And so getting into the habit of getting out of the fear and using something that will just have you get started. So count back from 5, open the financial documents, and just go.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, all that to tell you that we have to check our finances, our budgeting strategy. So when I talk about budgeting strategy, I talk about reviewing it, right? You have to review. Usually, if I ask you, okay, especially if you're a 9 to 5er, if I ask you how much money do you earn, you'll tell me, oh, I have that amount of money every year and every month. You know it. If I'm asking you how much money do you spend every month, that can be a whole different story. Most of it's a whole different story, right?
Yeah.
So whether you're a 9 to 5er and you know how much you earn, or whether you're a business owner, check your incomes. Check how okay, in the last month or the last 3 months, what was my income, right? So every money that's coming into your bank account. Check your expenses. Any money going outside of your bank account, whether it's a want or a want or a need. Check all that. Um, there's a budgeting strategy that some people can use. Not everyone love that budgeting strategy, and not everyone can actually use it, especially let's say if you're like a low earner, this strategy might not work for you. And depending of where you live too, right? If you live in Toronto, rent are expensive. If you live in Montreal, it's a little bit less expensive. If you live in Banff or Calgary or Halifax, it's also different, right? But the budgeting strategy, the 50-30-20 strategy, it implies that you will have all of your incomes and you will divide it with 3 buckets. So 50% maximum is your needs. So in the needs, it can be your rent, your groceries, your bills, everything that if you don't do it, it's going to be tragic, right? If you don't pay your rent, you're going to be out. You don't pay for your groceries, you have no food, you're going to be homeless, you're going to die, right? So all of that, they are considered as the needs.
And
Now,
I just want to pause there for a second. There's such a difference between needs and wants. So, really starting to create some clarity around that. You can still have what you want and you can schedule that into your budgeting. But there's a big difference around needs and wants. I'd love to listen to the Christian radio station here in Barrie, and there's a financial educator on there all the time. And he's always got these great ads with tips. And literally, Wednesday morning, I was going to hot yoga. I turned it on and he was giving financial tips. And that is exactly the first thing he said. When you're saving, if you're saving or you want to get out of debt, you really need to create clarity around the difference between your needs and wants. All right. So she's saying 50% is to go to those needs. And you can start to look at what is it that we truly need versus what are the wants. So that was the 50%. Just wanted to say that because that was a good mindset shift for me, especially if we're working to accumulate wealth and release that debt, right? So go ahead, 50% living and expenses. Got it.
exactly, exactly. And this budgeting strategy is also really individual. You have to know for yourself what is your need, what is your want. But usually in the need, there's always like, rent, groceries, bill, all that. This is for everyone. And then you have to figure out, okay, what is another need for me? For example, like paying for monthly therapy, it might be a want for something, it might be a need for you. So
Mhm, mhm.
don't be like there's one budgeting strategy for everyone, right?
I
Um,
was driving to yoga and I was thinking about what I was paying for yoga. And I was like, it is a need or is it a want? And I was like, it is both.
yeah,
It's absolutely both because it is my therapy and it is my movement. And it's a need and a want. And yeah, I was sitting with that because he mentioned it, and I was like, "Is it a need? Is it a want?" And I was like, "Life is always better when you're going to yoga. It's your therapy, right?" So, yeah, it is different for everyone. So, also, yeah, having clarity around what is in alignment with you too.
Absolutely. And then the 30%, those are the wants. So the wants is something that is it's not mandatory. If you don't do it, you still have alternative. You can still delay. Let's say,
So the yoga.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. You have alternative. Let's say I want to buy a new pair of sneaker, $200 sneaker, or I want to buy a new phone. I want to buy an iPhone, and it costs me $2,000. Do I have alternative? Can I buy a less expensive phone? A phone? Can I buy it maybe later on? All that. And then there's the 20%, which are the savings or debt repayments if you have debt. While we were making the distinction between the want and the need, I also want to talk about the instant gratification versus the delayed gratification.
Mhm.
So let's say right now I have money coming in. I want to buy a $200 pair of sneaker. This is an instant gratification. I'm happy right now because I'm buying the pair right now. Let's say if I have a goal of in 2026 next year, I want to travel in Congo to see my family there. And I know that it's going to cost me $2,000. And for that, I need to save $200 per month in order to be able to do that travel in 2026. When I do that travel in 2026, I'm going to enjoy it. This is a delayed gratification.
Mm.
Instead of having instant gratification and spending the 200 on this pair of sneaker right now, I'm going to save it and then I'm going to have the delayed gratification in 2026.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest things for most people is that we spend beyond our means because of that instant gratification. We are really in an instant gratification society where, unfortunately, we've been conditioned through devices, right? It's that 5, 7 second dopamine hit from your smartphone and the social channels and reels and shorts and all the things. So, I love this saying, be uncomfortable now so that you could be more comfortable later and forever versus having that instant gratification now and then being uncomfortable later forever.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. And also, some people, when they talk about the budgeting strategies, they'll tell you, okay, my budgeting strategy is like I have my income, I'm going to do my expenses, and then what's left is what I'm actually saving. Don't do that. For me, the right frame would be you have your incomes, you have the amount you're saving every month, or you're putting aside for the debt repayment, and then the rest is your expenses. And this is how you know that, okay, first of all, I need to prioritize the needs, and then the wants, if I cannot do it now, is gonna be for later. And this approach is also called the pay yourself first.
Mhm.
What does that mean? Pay yourself first is that as soon as you have your salary, you will put money aside for yourself for saving or paying your debt repayment. This is for you. This is for your goals, whether it's buying a new apartment, buying a new car, whether it's traveling to Congo, whether it's paying a membership of yoga for next year. You're paying yourself first instead of paying Nike for the pair of sneaker, instead of paying Apple, instead of paying Starbucks. You're paying yourself first. And I
Mhm.
think we really have to keep it in mind, whether we're working for a company or whether we're working for ourselves. Pay yourself first.
Yeah. And it's a philosophy none of us were conditioned to live by because of that instant gratification, right? It was spent on all the needs and wants, and then whatever's left, if there's anything left, then it would be to save for the future. And for a lot of people, they will just keep the spending and they're not ready to put themselves first, and so it's a habit. And in the book Profit First, he mentions how we're so conditioned that way that it's important to set up certain bank accounts and do that financial date a couple times a month and put it somewhere where you can't touch it. And that was one of the best tools that helped me save. Was I couldn't access the money instantly, so it automatically withdrew every month. And then I would have to get my financial advisor. I'd have to sign a form, and it would take 3 to 5 days to get to me. And so, are the Nike shoes still that important, right? And so, it's also starting to learn like human habit and how to outsmart yourself to set yourself up for success, right?
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yes. So I love that. It's the 50, 30, 20.
Absolutely. And for those who have like, let's say a lower revenue, or they're student, for example, they're just starting, they don't typically have a full-time job. There's also the alternative that is the 80-20. So meaning you will allocate 20% of your incomes, of your monthly income to your savings or debt prepayment. Usually they have student debt. And then the rest, it should be maximum 80% of expenses. You shouldn't be spending more than 80% on your expenses from a salary. Otherwise, it means that there's a disconnect between your rent and the amount you're earning. So that would be an alternative. Another thing that's super important with the budgeting strategy when you start is having an emergency fund. So I know we had that discussion before, and I love the way you reframed even my mindset about calling it maybe a reserve fund instead.
Mhm.
Me personally, I come from a banking background where words are words. So I've grown up with the emergency fund, but I love calling it the reserve fund. So to explain a little bit more, reserve fund is an amount of money that you have to set aside just in case of rainy day, of something happening. Let's say the someone is passed away, you're losing your job, or your car needs maintenance, all that. So I would advise people to have between 6 months and a year of monthly expenses set aside in the reserve fund. Some people will tell you 1 year to 2 years, 3 years. I think it's a little bit like maybe too much. But right now I saw people in Toronto, for example, looking for a job for a whole year or for a whole year and a half. So I think that between 6 months and a year, it's you're going to be set up for success, right? Of course you don't want to attract losing your job and all that, but you know that it can happen, and you just want to be set up for success. Don't just start investing while you don't have a reserve fund just in case.
Yeah, being prepared.
Love
And
that.
Grant Cardone is intense, and I love how he coaches. And he talks about always being prepared. And he said, if the power goes out and you don't have a backup generator, it's your fault. You don't have power. So it's like, to what level of preparedness would you like to be prepared? And it's setting up that security reserve fund for yourself so you can always be prepared and feel safe and secure. And when you're putting that money aside, it's energetically, you know, also going to give you peace of mind. And they always used to say, and I just want to talk here for business owners too. So when you're thinking about quitting your job, if you're coming from a job and wanting to start a business, one of the big questions is, when do I leave my job? And so Bob Proctor used to teach us always that you always have to have a 3 month reserve fund before you leave your job. Just always be safe and prepared. And then Kelly Roach is one of my business coaches, and she used to say 6 months. And then after we went into a super contracting economy in 2022, we learned that stuff happens, and then you also might need recovery time. So especially as a business owner, it's super important to have closer to that 12 months. And so to have that 12-month reserve, and then we want to leave that job when you are at the apex of your business, where you can no longer do them both. And it's actually costing you money in your business to keep your job. I see a lot of people just leave their job. And I mean, I want you to start your business, however works for you, just do it. And what I see a lot of people do is they leave their job and they go and start their business. And what happens is the mental stress of not having that steady income has them close their business. And so, if you had that mental real estate, if you had that feeling of safety and security because you had the reserve fund, then you would have the mental capacity to be focused on gaining clients because you want to serve them, not gaining clients because you need to pay bills. It's a very different energy. So when you're thinking about being a business owner, that's something super important to think about. And that reserve fund will give you so much mental space to have the capacity to scale and grow with so much more ease. So let's change our money around, change our mindset around having an emergency fund in case of a rainy day, or they call it like the rainy day fund. Instead of, it's a reserve and security fund, so that you can always feel safe and secure in taking care of yourself, your family, your needs, and your wants. And let's be the preparedness fund, right? And let's build that out. And highly recommending, as Alexia said, that 6 to 12 months, if not more. And this isn't like the long-term wealth building. This is just your security reserve fund.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you're coming back to being a business owner. Even as a business owner, it's super important to also have your budgeting strategy. So as a business owner, there's different budgeting strategy that you can have for your business. But first, I would say definitely checking your income. Last month, what was the incomes? What was the expenses? Am I paying for subscriptions that I'm not even using? Is there something going wrong? Like, you have to check it right. And for your business, there's a budgeting strategy that's called the 4 bucket. So the first bucket would be paying yourself a salary. Again, paying yourself first. Woohoo! We want to pay ourselves first, whether it's 5% of what you're receiving, 10%, 15%, whether it's a fixed amount. You have to pay yourself first, even a little bit, even a little bit.
Yeah,
Then
profit first, he says, even start with 2%.
absolutely.
Next month, you can double it. Just get started, like the first tip said.
Exactly. So pay yourself first. Then there's the operation. So all of your costs, the softwares, the networking event, all of that. Then you have a reserve for the taxes, because you don't want to be here the year after and be like, oh, I have actually $2,000 to pay off taxes. And how do I do it? Because I did spend everything on my Zoom membership and all that. So you have to put money aside every single month. Whenever you receive an amount of money, a small percentage, usually it's around 30%. This is what I do. You
Mm.
put it aside for the taxes.
Yeah,
And
and
then you
that's
have,
for your taxes and the HST. That 30% is that bucket. Taxes, HST, great habit to have. And you will often have a little bit extra, and then you can take yourself on a vacation or buy those shoes.
exactly. How about that? Again, the delayed gratification is going to be even more enjoyable, because you almost forgot about that money and you thought it was for the taxes. But if it's not, then you just enjoy it, or even more profit. It's amazing, right?
Yes, yeah, love that.
And then the fourth one is debt repayment. So if you have debt with your business, you have to pay your debt. This is also super important. You want to pay yourself first, but please, you also want to pay your debt. You don't want to be in bankruptcy, right?
Yeah.
Bankruptcy.
So the 4 buckets, first one, pay yourself first. Second one is the expenses, right? And then you have your taxes and HST, and then any debt.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Love it. Love it. And being mindful to build the habit and maybe set this up automated into accounts where you cannot access them for that instant gratification. Remember, let's outsmart ourselves.
Absolutely. What I'm doing, me personally, for my emergency fund, I have an account at a bank that's called Neo, because they have like better high returns than at the bank, like classic bank, for example. So I do have my emergency fund over there, and I don't have the app on my phone,
Ah,
meaning
smart.
I can't check that amount. When I go to my banking folder on my phone, I don't see neobank. So if I have that money, or I remember, oh, I need that money, I need to go to my laptop, connect to the bank. I don't have the app on my phone.
You can't be out in the store going, I really want those shoes. Let me just transfer that to myself.
Exactly. And honestly, so far it's working for me.
I love that. Brilliant. I'll have to ask you more about that, and maybe I will switch banks. So it's always good to know. See, these are the things we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Beautiful. I love it. Okay, so final tip, guys. Seek community and education. Tell us why that's so important.
Oh my God, seek community. It's so important because, a lot of time when I do host my workshop, people are telling me, oh, I love the way you did your workshop. It was interactive, all that. But most of the time, it's hard because people don't know where to start. They don't know where to start. And sometimes seeking community, whether it's creating a WhatsApp group with your friend because you're like-minded, you both want to learn about finances, or joining a Slack channel where women are talking about finances, or maybe I don't know, joining a nonprofit organization that help young Black women or women entrepreneurs, and then asking question, attending like workshop about financial literacy. All of that, seeking community, being around like-minded people, being educated, like increasing your education, attending to more workshop, maybe it could be sometimes small calls to action. That's why whenever I do my workshops, I have between, it's usually an hour. I have between 40 and 45 minutes of content, and between 15 and to 20 minutes of questions, because it's important for me that people can actually ask questions. So
Mm.
during the workshop, I will have like all of the land acknowledgement and all that. I will give content. There's games, maybe counts where people can earn individual financial coaching sessions. There's case study with names that will actually resonate with people. And then at the end, there's actually a whole slide about what did you learn today. So I will actually want to hear from people and what did they learn. And then another slide about with different calls to actions. And I ask people, take a minute to think about 2 or 3 calls to actions that you actually want to implement in your life in the next week, in the next month, in the next year. And
Mm.
it can be small, whether it's choosing like a financial literacy influencer on Instagram, choosing a financial literacy book, choosing a financial literacy podcast, attending I'm at a workshop right now, attending another workshop, listening to the Own It podcast, right? So all of that, I'm giving them small calls to action, whether it's been okay, talking to my mentor about finances, maybe they have idea, creating a WhatsApp group with my friend. All of that is super important because sometimes, especially when people do not know where to start, they feel alone. They
Yeah.
feel alone, and by themselves, they're just like, I'm going to be avoidant again. Let me just not do it.
Mm.
But if you seek community and you have, for example, an accountability buddy, it's gonna help you a lot. Last time with my friend, actually the friend that I educated on a financial literacy that made me have that business, her name is Joelle. We have, and she actually suggested it. We have every Friday, we send each other a voice note on WhatsApp to tell about the things we're proud that we did on the previous week.
Oh,
And
I love it.
yes, because she was like, I want to do more things. I need an accountability partner because I need to talk a little bit more about what I'm doing and all that. Do you want to be my accountability partner? And that's amazing because sometimes I feel bad and she feels good, and sometimes the reverse, and then sometimes they have a balance, and we encourage each other, right? So that could be the same for financial literacy. Let's create a WhatsApp group, and every Friday we do an accountability note. Let's say next Friday I have to take an appointment with my advisor. Next Friday I have to choose a financial coach. Next Friday I have to go to my bank, open a TFSA. Next Friday I have to open an account at Wealthsimple because I want to start investing. All of that is key.
Beautiful. I love that. And I'm sitting here going, that could be a free gift or actually a paid community. Like you could literally start that right now today, whether it's paid or free, like some kind of WhatsApp chat that we just all come together and support one another. It could be your Facebook group. You're such a wealth of information and knowledge. And I love that you love to teach it because you're a really good teacher, right? But they say, it's one thing to know something, but we know you really know it when you can teach it,
Oof.
right? If you want to be a master of something, you want to be able to teach it to at a 5-year-old level so that anybody can understand. And you're amazing with what you do. So
Thank
We are so blessed to have you on the show. I'm so excited to have you as a guest speaker in our community coming up. And I'm so excited for all the people you're going to help become wealthy, and specifically all the ladies out there, because our conditioning previously, if we look back through society, what was it like? Women couldn't have their own bank account without a husband or a father until like 1970. Right. Or even something a little later. Like, it's wild. So think about the first tip, the mindset shift around money. And for women, there's a lot for us to gain there, and there's a lot of infinite money out there. It's like flowing. um, Tad James is the creator of timeline therapy, which is one of my unconscious tools that I use to help my clients change their beliefs so you can stop being your glass ceiling. And he's was also incredible at sales, and he would talk about to visualize, to help you shift your mind around money instead of thinking there's not enough. So everyone, just actually do me a favor, close your eyes and visualize this with me. I want you to imagine there is this like giant river, like the biggest, like ocean wide river flowing fast. Everything's moving and it's filled with money. So what's moving through it is just like an abundant, infinite amount of money. And you get to pull that towards you. And whether you use a magnet or you use a straw, and you just see there's been a channel open now and it's coming to you. And not only does it come to you, it sticks to you. And I want you to imagine that money is energy and it's a form of exchange and it's always available for you. So just take one last moment and feel and see that money coming to you, and release any feelings around guilt or shame or not worthy or that you're bad and wrong. If you have money, just let that all go. And know that if you're already a good person, you will only do more good with the more money you have in the world. So see it, feel it. Imagine you're just like the money is stuck to you. You've got bags all around you of money, it's in your pockets, it's just overflowing. And may that be your new energy around money. Yes. So whenever you're ready, you could open your eyes and just imagine that. So if you catch yourself going to that scarcity place, I want you to close your eyes and go back to that visualization. Because for me, when he said that, it was such a powerful shift for me. Because literally, guys, money is being printed every single day. And there's an abundance of it in the world. And why not you? And why not now? So let's own our financial future. And it's all going to start with getting started, getting empowered through that budgeting strategy, because budgeting is power, and seeking community and education. Know this, you can't outgrow your environment. So pause and ask yourself, look at the 5 people you spend most of your time with and add up their income and take the average. That is your glass ceiling. So where else can you go and seek resources and community that are wealth focused and have that growth mindset? So incredible, incredible, incredible. And speaking of environment and building that relationship with money, you have an incredible gift for everyone today, and it's your 3-step framework to set up your money date. So tell us about that.
Absolutely. So actually, yesterday I hosted a workshop, an online workshop for the Grow Class community, and it was about money date, a guided hour to fall in love with your finances.
Love it.
So what I want you guys to do is to give your finances as many chances as you gave to that man, woman, dating app, relationship, situationship. So the money date is a time that you set up for yourself in your calendar to actually review your finances. And it could be every 2 weeks, every week. It could be every month. Me personally, I do it every month, and I have a 3-step framework. So it's review, reflect, and refocus. So review, it will be, as I said, budgeting strategy. I will review incomes, expenses, reflect all of this, incomes, expenses, savings, debt repayment. Is it aligned with my short-term, mid-term, long-term goals? If it's aligned, great. What do I do next? If it's not, I have to make a plan to change the things. I have to, because I want to pay myself first. I want to actually work for my goals, not for Starbucks goals, not for Apple's goals, etc., etc. And then the last one will be refocus and take action. So it's actually, I have the plan for next month. I need to do this, this, this. Let's say if one of my goal is to go travel to Congo, I need to do this, this, this. If my goal is to buy a property in 5 years, I need to do this, this, this. Make a plan for next month, and you do that every single month. You will definitely see a change in your in your financial life, and you will own your financial future.
And guys, this is absolutely essential. No more head in the sand. We are going to build a relationship with money. And the more attention you give it, the more it grows. And the more you manage it, the more it grows. Money loves you. It wants to be a part of your life. And it requires you to actually have a relationship with it. So, what are you thinking about it? What's that mindset? Are you getting empowered by managing that money? And how much time and energy are you spending with it? And let it grow. Where your energy goes, it will grow. So, absolutely incredible. Love this gift. Love the tips. And last but not least, how we love to wrap up the show is your favorite book recommendation and why? Because I love to read.
I love it. So my favorite book is unfortunately not the financial one. It's not always financial literacy. I'm also big on growth and personal development. My favorite book, and I remember I read it a long time ago in French. So it's The Four Agreements. The Four Agreements. I love it. I tend to live through those. So one of it is so always be impeccable with your word.
Yeah, so have integrity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't take anything personally.
Love it.
Don't make any assumptions.
Makes an A out of you and me.
Absolutely. And always do your best.
Yeah, I love that. Show up as your best.
Exactly.
And I love that book. I did it on Audible myself. Highly recommend it. Big game changer. Really has us get out of our unconscious autopilot, storytelling, self criticism, and has us step into our power through these four agreements we make with ourselves. So, love it. Definitely check out that book, guys. But most importantly, I'm going to drop that link below. I want you to grab that free gift, reach out to Alexia, check out the links there. She's incredible. You can learn more about her, attend her workshops, rewatch this episode. So much power in building that relationship with your money and educating yourself so you can be financially intelligent and build financial wealth and abundance. So, thank you again so much for being on the show and all that you do. And is there anything else you'd like to say to our guests today?
Thank you so much for having me, Heather. It's a pleasure. You said it. I have a gift to make it easy, digestible. And funny enough, last time I hosted an in-person workshop, the person told me it's amazing the way you describe that the difference between savings and investing. I actually did make the comparison with seeds. Let's say if I give you seeds and then you don't do anything with seeds, they will always remain seeds, and I might give you more seeds, right? So this is the investing. You put money aside on the bank account. It's the money is not growing. Now, if with the seeds you plant it and you actually put some water, take care of it, it will grow. But if you stop taking care of it, it will die. If you keep going, you have more leaves, more trees, etc. This is investing.
Love it. I love that analogy. Beautiful visualization. Now we can all see it's time to plant the seeds and give them love and attention so they can grow and let your money tree flow.
I love that.
Love it. Amazing. So may you all be financially abundant. Thank you again so much, Alexia. Guys, check her out. And thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. Reach out if you have any questions. Come to our free events. We always have so much going on, and there's years of episodes to dive into. So have fun learning. And remember, stay happy, healthy, wealthy. Expect magic and miracles. And what is the best that can happen? We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.